Aren't we a democratic republic?
We are a democracy. As Tom pointed out, we are a balance of powers, divided government. We're not a parliamentary system. We're a very unique form of democracy. We're the oldest continuous democracy on the face of the earth right now, but it's not running very well.
3 minutes to the gentleman, very distinguished chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Rogers.
The gentleman from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think the American people, certainly some well-intentioned members in this chamber, have legitimate concerns. They should be addressed. We should have time and education on what actually happens in the particular program of which we speak. And I'll pledge to each one of you today and give you my word that this fall, when we do the Intel authorization bill, we will work to find additional privacy protections with this program that has no emails, no phone calls, no names, and no addresses. 14 federal judges have said, yes, this comports with the Constitution.
Involved in civil disturbances, criminal activity, suspected drug activity, individuals of interest to presidential protection, individuals suspected of international terrorism, and so on. And this spurred Congress, and the Church Committee in particular really led the charge here, to say that they did not want to create opportunities for executive branch agencies to collect bulk information on U.S. citizens. That was the purpose behind FISA. They were also concerned that developments in technology would allow agencies to exploit ambiguities in the law to intrude upon American citizens' privacy. These are the stated aims in Congress of this legislation. So to protect U.S. persons, not just from NSA surveillance, but also from FBI programs like COINTELPRO or the U.S. Army's Operation CONUS or the IRS programs, all of these, FISA established 4 important protections for U.S. persons. First, any information from electronic intercepts in particular had to be specifically tied to an individual. Right? You could not just collect all electronic intercepts. Second, that individual had to be identified as a foreign power or an agent of a foreign power prior to collection of information on that person. Minimization procedures had to be put into place, and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court would oversee this process. Now, initially, FISA dealt with electronic intercepts. It gradually expanded to include 4 areas: electronic intercepts, physical surveillance, pen, register, and trap and trace, and that's really what's at issue in the telephony metadata programs. That is the numbers one dials from one's phones and the numbers one receives on one's phone. That's PRTT, pen, register, trap and trace. And finally, business records and tangible goods, which also is of issue because this is the provision under which bulk collection takes place. Now, in regard to what has happened under Section 215, many of these basic principles and the approach of Congress and the purpose of introducing FISA have really been countered by NSA's actions. First, there's no particularization prior to collection. The orders that are issued by Verizon or to Verizon just are bulk collection. There's no prior targeting, so there's no probable cause that the individual was involved in any sort of criminal or foreign intelligence-related activity. Before they had to know the target to get information. The argument is that now they get the information in order to ascertain who the targets are. It's completely backwards from the approach that FISA traditionally has had.
This is all designed for us to be asleep while our rights are being stripped. When is the American people going to wake up and realize that the book 1984 has come about? Your rights are being stripped and I hear nothing.
Counterterrorism Center in Washington. And before that, he served as General Counsel for the National Security Agency, where he held the position of Chief Legal Counsel. He also served the Department of Justice as an Associate Deputy Attorney General and was responsible for supervising and coordinating national security and criminal matters. Mr. Olson's also had the honor of serving both the Obama administration and the Bush II administration. He will talk about the nature of terrorism, the threat it presents, and what the NSA is doing to collect intelligence to support our counterterrorism efforts. He'll also focus on the surveillance and the role of the NSA programs, the role they play in our ability to identify and disrupt terrorist threats.
As Mr. Rogers from the old TV show used to say, can you spell hypocrisy? Sure you can.
So to do that, I think we're looking at disclosing in a very public way more information than we've ever done before. Trying to engage in a broader public dialogue. Tonight is an example of that. Hey, so there's media here. Fine, they need to be here. Hey, I'm not screening questions. You need to ask what the audience has in mind, and we'll take it from there. Another point I try to make is, but it just can't be about NSA, defending NSA. That's a loser to me. It needs to be part of a broader dialogue. And we are very fortunate that we have some great partners out there who are willing to stand up and have that dialogue. Because I'm the first to admit, if it's just going to be about NSA, talking about NSA, we're missing the boat, from my perspective anyway. NSA needs to be a part of this dialogue, but it needs to be much broader. People need to understand, hey, look, there is a legal framework in position out there. We just don't unilaterally decide what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. We have a set of policy mechanisms that help shape what NSA focuses its foreign intelligence mission on. We have a set of court-directed compliance requirements where we have to make a case in many cases to get the authority or permission to do what we do. We have regular congressional oversight where we have to notify, and I have to testify. I have to notify in writing and testify publicly as well as privately before our primary oversight committees.
Silence. Go on sleep. America, go on sleep. Your rights are being stripped, and you say nothing. I yield back.
Listen to Benjamin Franklin's well-known admonition. In 1755, he said, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Today, in 2013, faced with a choice from a government which moves without morality, without respect for liberty or law, here or abroad, without adherence to the Constitution, let us declare that we have made the choice and we choose liberty.
The message to the NSA is now coming from every branch of government, from every corner of our nation. NSA, you've gone too far.
Congressman King said one incident was called 9/11. We call that one incident. That should never happen again. That's what we're about here. That's what we're trying to do. I think it's also important to note that...
And I realized there would be a monstrous attack on the United States, so I immediately called the White House. I called the White House, I called for National Security Advisor Condi Rice, and her assistant came on the phone and said, Congressman Rohrabacher, what is it? And I said, I've got to see her, I've got to warn her about an imminent major terrorist attack that is going to happen very soon in our country. There will be a huge terrorist attack, and I need to talk to her about it and give her some details of what I think is going to happen. And the aide said, you know, Congressman, she's talked about Afghanistan before. We know you're an expert on that, but she can't see it today. You know, she's a very busy person. But if you come over tomorrow at 3 o'clock, she will talk to you, and I will put you on the schedule. So, I was on the schedule at 3 o'clock to talk to Condoleezza Rice to warn her of an imminent major terrorist attack. That's what the schedule says. That was the day that I was supposed to meet her was 9/11.